Lazarus, Martha, and Mary lived in Bethany. That's where they lived. Jesus was there 6 days before the Passover, and they had made him a supper. Martha was serving. Lazarus was sitting. And Mary took some very costly perfume and anointed the feet of Jesus. That's what she did. And wiped his feet with her hair. So guess what? Her hair was not short. No. And there was a very good smell in the house. They weren't thinking about the time that one of them had said, there will be a stench, for he has been in the tomb 4 days. But Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, and now Jesus is 6 days away from Passover. But he is doing okay on this day. It smells good. But Judas was one of his disciples, as you know, and he was intending to betray Jesus. And he comes up and opens his mouth and says, "Why was this perfume not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor?" A man opens his mouth with a question. And Jesus is listening. But he did not say this because he was concerned for the poor, but because he was a thief. What was he? A thief. What does a thief do? Do you have a clue? I'm sure you do. A thief gets in the money box and takes money out of the box. That's what a thief does. He steals, and in this case, money. And he had been doing this for quite a while. And Jesus opens his mouth in the presence of all there, and he says, "Let her alone." I mean, he's just had his feet anointed with some very good smelling ointment. And he has had his feet clean, so to speak. I imagine he had already washed his feet. And she had wiped her hair. Is smelling good now. You understand? Her hair, Lazarus' sister's hair, smells good from the perfume. And he says, "Let her alone in order that she may keep it for the day of my burial." Jesus makes an announcement. There's going to be a burial day for me. Jesus makes it known at the table. And he says, "The poor you always have with you, but you do not always have me." Well, Jesus, you sound a little arrogant there. Really? It's not arrogance. He was simply telling the truth. That's all he did. And do you know what? People today still believe that when somebody tells the truth, they are being arrogant. That's not the way it is, although that's the way it seems to be. And the great multitude, therefore, of the Jews learned that he was there, and they came not for Jesus' sake only, but that they might see Lazarus, whom had been raised from the dead. Lazarus had been raised from the dead quite a few days before that. Jesus wasn't the only attention getter. Lazarus was there with Jesus at the table. These Jews came. And the chief priests took counsel that they might put Lazarus to death also. These chief priests are something. I'm talking about they are something to deal with. But put Lazarus to death also. But on account of him, many of the Jews were going away and believing in Jesus. If Lazarus had come and talked to you and said, hey, I was dead for days until Jesus came to the tomb and called me out, or called out to me. That was pretty good, wasn't it? All right, on the next day, the great multitude who had come to the feast, when they heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem, took the branches of the palm trees and went out to meet him and to cry out, Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, even the King of Israel. That was one thing that they needed to know, that if Israel had a king, they knew some stuff. And Jesus, finding a young donkey, sat on it, as it is written, Fear not, daughter of Zion. Behold, your king is coming, seated on a donkey's colt. These things his disciples did not understand at first. But when Jesus was glorified, then they remembered that those things were written of him, that they had done these things to him. And so the multitude who were with him, when he called Lazarus out of the tomb and raised him from the dead, were bearing witness. More people had gone to the tomb and were there when Jesus called Lazarus out, or called out to Lazarus. Look, I'm reading here today. For this cause also the multitude went and met him, because they heard that he had performed this miracle. If I hear that somebody has raised the dead, in Ruston, I might probably go there if I can get there. I would like to see the man who has raised the dead. I have seen a man who has raised the dead. I know his name. I'll recognize him probably most anywhere. I guess he could disguise himself where I wouldn't recognize him. But I don't think he would want to be in disguise and not be recognized. Jesus didn't hide his face from them. The Pharisees therefore said to one another, "You see that you are not doing any good. Look, the world has gone after him." I mean, these people are in dismay. Everybody has filled the streets of Jerusalem to see this king come riding in on this colt or this young animal. Now there were certain Greeks among those who were going up to worship at the feast. What did you go to the feast for? You went up to worship. Jesus went up to the feast to worship with the rest of the people. It was a feast, one that he was not going to miss. And Philip came and told Andrew. Andrew and Philip came and told Jesus. Let me back up a minute. You're not doing any good. That's what the words were. The world has gone out after him. Now there were certain Greeks among those who were going up to worship at the feast. These therefore came to Philip, who was from Bethsaida of Galilee, to ask him, saying, "Sir, we wish to see Jesus." They weren't looking for Lazarus. They wanted to see Jesus. And Jesus answered them, saying, no, let me back up again. They came and asked Philip, "Sir, we wish to see Jesus." Jesus came and told Andrew. Andrew and Philip came and told Jesus. Now, I've got it right. And Jesus answered them, saying, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified." The hour has come. In other words, it's going to happen, folks. That doesn't mean in the next 60 minutes. That's not what that means. It means the time has come. That's what it means. They were fixing to go. Truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains by itself. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. He who loves his life loses it. That's what Jesus said. I'm reading. And he who hates his life in this world keeps it to life eternal. If anyone serves me, if anyone serves me, let him follow me. And where I am, there shall my servant also be. If anyone serves me, pay attention, please. Can you please pay attention? I need to pay attention too. Please pay attention here. If anyone serves me, the Father will honor him. Do you get it? We have to get this, folks. We have to get this. I'm not sure I've had it too well until now, but I'm getting this. And Jesus says, "Now my soul has become troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? But for this purpose I came to this hour. Father, glorify your name." Let those words sink in, please. Father, glorify your name.